Hello, my name is Sonya Wong, CPA and financial professional with QX Financial. Joining me today are my colleagues, Sharadee Allred and Melissa Lewis. Welcome, ladies.
Sonia.
Well, today we're going to be talking about how to fund college costs. And it's the beginning of September. I'm sure that many kids are heading back to school and parents are probably thinking about how to fund their child's education. So we'd like to go over some of the mainstream approaches, which is the 529 plan. And Sharadee, what are some of the pros of the 529 plan?
So with the 529 plan, so I have 4 kids, and I remember coming home with that brand new baby. They gave me like this little pouch full of stuff, right? And in that pouch full of stuff was a lot of information. And one of the pamphlets that they had in there was about a 529 plan. And I thought, oh, I mean, this brand new baby, I didn't even think of college. I was just more worried about getting this child into the world. And so that's about the point that I started thinking about a 529 plan. The good things about 529 plans are that you can contribute to it as you go. Some 529 plans are also specific to your state. So you'll definitely want to make sure you know what your state requirements are, what it can be used for, those kinds of things. Some 529 plans in some states allow you to pay for college costs up front in today's dollars, which makes it really great because we know the cost of college is going up. Another cool thing about the 529 plan is that some colleges make it so that you can buy credits. And so it's like you've already got some credits for that college.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of which,
Sorry,
yeah,
I told
that's
you I've
okay.
got 4 kids.
Hey, we're keeping it real here, right?
Oh, yeah, it's actually really apropos to the situation of moms minding money.
That's right. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that, Sharadee. And Melissa, well, we got to go over the cons too. So what are the cons of the 529 plan?
Thank you, Sonia. Yeah, so the cons of the 529 is that you must use it only for qualified educational expenses. Like Sharadee had mentioned, it's a really good idea to look at your state laws and regulations in regard to the 529 because every state is quite different. So you would think commonly that a qualified educational expense would be tuitions and fees, room and board, textbooks, or like a computer and computer software, etc. And you are correct on that. However, they charge if withdrawals are ill-timed. And what I mean by that is, so let's say that a parent has a 529 plan and they feel real secure about it and they're just going to go take out the tuition for that year for that child. Let's say they take it out for the whole year in that lump sum. One of the things that parents can come up against is that the school will only allow tuition in that 1 year for the first semester, as opposed to the whole school year. And then they ask for the second tuition payment in the second semester. The issue there is we're talking about the difference between a school year and a calendar year. There are little hiccups. So
Yeah.
It's not that it's a bad thing, but you really, like Sharadee said, you really need to know what's required from the state and what's required from the universe. So that's one of the qualified educational expenses that you have to know what that qualification is. Another sort of downside are the fees. And again, the states are really different. So some of them have a $5 penalty for every $1,000, for example. And that may not seem like a lot, but many other states only do $1 on the 1,000. So again, $5, $1, you're looking at a small amount of money, but if you look at it with the perspective of a 5% interest rate is horrible compared to a 1%. Another thing is the ownership rules of the 529 plan. That means that if you as a parent take out your 529 and let's say by the time your child gets to be of age, you didn't save enough, or it didn't provide enough of a return as you expected it to be, and you still need to take out a school loan, it actually works against you when you're applying for that financial aid, because the 529 counts as an asset. I don't mean to be Debbie Downer over here.
No, not at all.
These things can be countered if you have a really good advisor or someone who's going to guide you through these rules. In fact, that's why we're here.
Yeah.
To help our clients
navigate
these rules. Another common misnomer is, again, the qualified educational expenses or guidelines is it can only be used for university and not a trade school. But that being said, that's only some states. I have read recently that more and more trade schools and community colleges are being accepted into these plans. So that's a jump in the right direction.
Definitely.
Lastly here, look at my notes here because there are so many rules.
There are.
Here for you. If you want to talk about state tax benefits, there are limitations on that as well. So all the states have different rules. We talked about the expense ratio that they may or may not charge. For every 1,000, it could be 5. For every 1,000, it could be $1. As your money grows, you'll be paying more each year to fund it. Whereas like another vessel, like a whole life policy, can be a level paid premium the whole time. We might get into going into alternate ways. Use a 529,
Yep.
Same concept, but maybe alternate vessels. And while the broad outline of a 529 plan may be clear, like, for example, tax-free distributions for qualified investment expenses, much of what goes on within the state's 529 is up to the state itself. So again, it's just checking to make sure that once you sign up for this 529, are the rules going to change when the state laws change? Or are you grandfathered into that plan that you signed up for?
If I could add to that, I have some good friends who grew up around here. They bought a 529 plan for my state, and then 10 years down the road, they ended up getting jobs in a different state. And so now they're in a different state, but they have these 529 plans for my state. And so now their kids are getting old enough that they're thinking, do I send my kid out of state, which they're not going to be residents, so they're going to be paying higher tuition, or do I keep them in state? If they end up not sending their kid to the colleges that the 529 plan really helps with, then they're kind of out of their money, and they're facing that issue right now. Another issue that I would like to bring up for personal experience. So I'm a lucky mom of a special needs kid. When my kid was born, he had brain damage from different things going on. And you never know how brain damage is going to really affect that kid's capacity to learn and grow and even their physical abilities. And so now that he's a little bit older, we're seeing that maybe he's kind of got some learning delays and things like that. We're thinking, well, what if he doesn't choose to go to college? What if he chooses to do a trade? Or what if he chooses to be self-taught? These are kinds of things that we are having to consider with a special needs child that may be different from other kids as well.
Actually, just segueing off of that, if your child does decide not to go to college or do something that is not under the qualified regulation, if you will, and you want to withdraw that money, you're getting taxed on the growth of that money, and there's an additional 10% penalty. So you have to weigh out, okay, will the growth of that money counter those penalties so that I'm at least getting the money back that I put in? So that would be another thing just to consider and watch out for.
Well, Melissa and Sharadee, thank you very much for sharing the pros and cons of the 529 plan, as well as more flexible options that are available. And to all our viewers, thank you very much for watching this video. If you found value in the content, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. And if you would like to schedule a complimentary consultation with any one of us, our contact information is below in the show notes. Thank you very much and have a great day.